And we are back with our very special guest, John Mangum, who is a triple threat. He is a realtor, he is an investor, and he is a CPA. And his day job is with Starker Services, where he serves as an expert advisor and a qualified intermediary on 1031 exchanges. How was that for an introduction?
John, that's nearly overwhelming. I don't know if I'm going to be able to follow that with anything.
Well, I'm hoping you will because the mailbag has a question that I think only you can answer. And I thought about giving it a stab, and I said I'm going to call in the big guns. So let me read this, and this is from one of our real estate coffee break members, Diana, who says, "Hello. How should I decide if I should continue doing a 1031 exchange in this market or just pay the capital gains tax? I will be selling a property June 30th, and today is, well, we're in the week of June 6th, so this is coming right up. And she'll be selling it to her current tenants. With the market being so hot, those are her quotes, not mine, and homes selling for more than asking price, how do I not overpay for the next house, or should I just pay the capital gains?" John, I'm going to ask you to tackle this, but for those who are unaware of what a 1031 exchange is, if a landlord is selling a property to a tenant, and I can see a number of reasons why you'd want to do that, how would a 1031 tax deferred exchange work to potentially benefit that landlord?
So, John, of course, the 1031 is about saving taxes on investment property, rental property. You've got a strict time period, 45 days to identify, 180 days to close, and you've got to go equal or greater value. We know those four concepts. I'm asked the question frequently these days, probably the last 18 months, in the up market that we're in, does it make sense to do a 1031 exchange? And I'm going to take us back to an exercise that I suggest investors should do every year. And that is to grade your properties. You remember my old ABC grading system.
I do, and it's brilliant. Please share it with us.
Well, John, if you really like the property, if it's doing well for you, whether it's cash flow or you've got good equity or it's in a growing area, it's an A. It's a gut check. You ought to be able to grade your properties, make your list, and grade them in 60 seconds. This isn't detailed financial analysis. So what's a B? Well, I'm not sure. What's a C? If I could get rid of it, I probably should.
Right.
So it's triage for anybody who works in the healthcare sector. You've got to do these three categories. So if you're getting rid of a property today and it's a good time to sell it to your tenant, Diana's example, you're selling it in a high market. Presumably you're getting a good price, a price that you're happy with. If you're selling it direct to the tenant, your sales costs are probably going to be less than going to the open market. So
Right.
that's a win. Should you consider doing a 1031 exchange? The answer is always yes, you should consider. You should open up the possibility of deferring the taxes on the gain on the sale of that rental house. In other words, you should start the 1031 exchange. You should go out on the market and shop for replacement property. If you're getting rid of a C grade property, or even a B if you're kind of lukewarm on it, and you can go replace it in a hot market today, you're going to be paying, let's call it a retail price, but you're getting rid of a property at which you sold at a retail price. So you're doing, or you would do, if you found something that you think is a little higher than you want to pay, you're doing the essence of what the 1031 exchange is all about. And that is you're getting rid of one asset and you're replacing it with another, which if on your simple ABC grading system, if you can come to grips that you're getting an A grade property or even a B plus, and you got rid of a B minus or a C, then you're advancing your overall portfolio and you're using a large chunk of someone else's money to do it. John, we always say before you enter into the exchange, make sure you know what your potential tax liability is, so you know just how big a dragon you might be slaying.
You know, it's interesting that you say this because one of the things that I always like to say, I think of myself as a pygmy standing on the shoulders of giants. And you're one of the giants that has helped me over the years understand income taxes and how they play an integral role in real estate. But another phrase that we hear a lot, and I've heard you use it, is in investment real estate and rental real estate, we try to make our money going in. And I'm hearing Diana say, well, I can't find anything that is allowing me to really get a fabulous deal on a property going in. Am I hearing you say that because Diana theoretically is selling at the top of the market, it's okay for her to replace at the top of the market if she can improve her position in terms of her overall portfolio moving, say, from a C to an A?
So this is a quality of portfolio analysis, not a quantity of dollars. You should make your money going in. I completely agree. But she arguably made her money going in some years ago on the existing rental house. And all she's doing is what the 1031 exchange contemplates. It's a continuity of ownership interest, but she's changing a C for a B. Now, if she's selling an A grade property for a good high price, and there's really nothing out there that, you know, that resonates, that you really want, the message that I've been giving people in this past 18 or so months, start the exchange. Give yourself the option to do a 1031 exchange, find a property that will work for you, that's at least as good or better because you're using someone else's money. Maybe it rents for more money. Maybe it doesn't have the deferred maintenance, that the one you're getting rid of. If you were to get to 45 days in the exchange window and you don't find suitable replacement property, you can deliberately fail the exchange. You can choose to not fill out the target identification letter. And so on the 46th day, the funds can be released from the escrow account. In other words, you've spent less than $1,000 to start an exchange, $750 plus $100 for the dual signature qualified escrow account. That's your opportunity to have this window of time to find a property that could really work for you.
So let me ask this question. If she's closing on selling the rental house to her tenants on June 30th, is that the date that starts our clock?
Yes, sir. The 45-day window starts on the day of the title transfer.
Okay.
So
during that 45 days, what does she have to do in order to continue to give herself options?
In a perfect world, she's shopping the market hard. She's making offers. There's a phrase that we all have internalized. You got to see a lot of houses. You got to make a lot of offers.
Right.
And that's what she's got to do. She's got to find the don't want her or somebody who will take $10,000 off the price, or she's just got to find the house that the owner has kept in perfect condition, because a very well maintained house has $10,000 or $15,000 worth of value that you don't have to do the day you buy it.
That's right.
No roof, no air conditioner, no paint. The kitchen's already in good shape. So evaluate your possibilities from a qualitative basis as well as a quantitative basis.
All right. Now, I want to explore and sort of be a devil's advocate here. If, let's say, she does what you have suggested to keep her options open, she goes ahead and initiates the exchange, gets things set up. In fact, she doesn't even need to wait until June 30th to begin shopping, does she? She can do that now.
She could be writing a contract today.
Okay. Exactly. All right, good. And I like that. But let's say the 45 days comes and goes and she just can't find anything. Is it any worse for her, other than the few dollars to make the exchange possible that we talked about, less than $1,000? Is there any penalty or any downside of her having exposed herself to that opportunity, to that door?
John, if you start the exchange, the funds go from closing into the qualified escrow account. If you receive the funds on the 46th day, the transaction reverts back to being a regular sale. You've got a few $100s more expense in the transaction,
Sure.
but there's no IRS penalty. There's no interest charged on anything. It's a no harm, no foul situation.
Okay.
And yes, you spent a little money, but the
Well,
idea
but
is
she's not going to be under investigation from the
no. In
commissioner of
fact,
the IRS.
interestingly, if you start an exchange and you deliberately fail so that on the 46th day the funds are released, you don't even report that you started it. You simply report the
Okay.
sale,
Okay.
just as
Okay.
as it would
Now,
normally be.
and this is my last question. If she decides, I don't want to do that, I'm just going to sell and take the capital gains hit, and assuming she's working with either somebody like you and Starker or somebody that can help her calculate ahead of time what that capital gains tax will be, because that's sort of a moving target involving recapture of depreciation and a lot of other things in here. My question to you is, if she just goes ahead and says, as she says in here, go ahead and pay the capital gains, will she ever recover that money that she has paid in taxes?
So, John, this is kind of the stage 2 situation. If you start the exchange and you don't complete it, you're going to pay the taxes. But if you go to closing on June 30th and you don't start the exchange, there's a 100% chance you'll pay the taxes and you won't see that money again.
Ever.
Now, people would argue that the market will change. And so if you're selling a house for, let's make up an example, 200,000, and your tax liability is, let's say 40,000. So you've got 160 left. Let's set a mortgage aside. You can wait until the market changes and there's an opportunity in the market to buy a house for 160 that might be worth arguably 200. But will that time be this December or 4 years from now? And will you have received rental income during those 4 years? So again, quality of your portfolio. What is your overall investor mindset and objective? There are the people who are tired of tenants and toilets and termites, and they are happy to give the IRS some money and move on. So, it becomes a personal question. But if you pay those taxes, that money's gone, and you're not making money on someone else's money.
I would, and I lied to you. I have one final question. Did anyone ask you this same question in March of 2020? Because since then, according to Georgia MLS, the average home selling price in Metro Atlanta, Georgia, is up a whopping 17%.
John,
Did anybody think the prices were going to drop?
We're hearing about supply chain constraints. We're hearing about increases in the cost of raw materials, lumber, copper, all of this. The likelihood that prices are going to go down in the foreseeable several years is almost at zero. Because once you set a benchmark, once you sell houses for a certain price, the ones around it should expect to achieve a similar price. So until there's an economic event, whether it's a pandemic that upsets the economy, or whether there's a recession or something like that, it's hard to see the prices doing anything but let's say flattening. So as much as it pains me to think that I'm going to buy a house in the month of June or July in today's market, and I'm going to pay, and I'm looking at one, this is personal now, I'm looking at one priced at 170. And if
that's a bargain. Take it quick.
Well, if I had bought it in, let's say, last December, I would be down in the 140 range. And there's a neighborhood where there's several of these. But my rationale is that what I'm selling to buy the replacement, I'm getting $20,000 more than I ever expected. Yeah. So I'm putting that money to work. And as some of my friends who are starting to retire, I've got some older friends actually.
Yeah, I noticed you have many. One's right here.
My friends who are starting to retire, they're starting to say, I don't care how much my portfolio grows, it's cash flow that's important. If I want money to take a trip, if I want to take John Adams out to dinner and not worry about paying the tab. So cash flow, you build your portfolio, you structure it, you get rid of your C's and you try to buy A's. And as time goes by, your amortization takes hold and your debt shrinks and your rents go up. And all of a sudden, you've got several $1,000s a month that will let you do things that other people can't.
Yeah.
So I don't know where Diana is on the continuum, but before she makes a decision to just take the money and pay the capital gains tax, talk to her CPA, understand what the tax liability would be. And number two, consider. You don't have to do an exchange, but you should consider whether the value is there.
Very interesting. One of the things I love about Real Estate Coffee Break is that we are able to tap into experts, fields of expertise, such as yours, and get really good, solid answers and really explore questions that I think a lot of people have. So thank you for sharing, as always. If I do have a question, how can I start becoming younger? I would like to be 39 again. Is that in the, Jack Benny never got beyond 39. So if you can find that in the tax code, I would appreciate it. John Mangum, people listening and viewing right now are going to want to reach out to you. I know you in the past have generously offered a brochure that helps explain, or at least it does to me, the 1031 process. Is that available, and where can folks get that or get hold of? There it is.
Funny you should ask. John, it'd be my pleasure to send it out electronically to any of your listeners. They can call in. Our 800 number is 800-332-1031.
1031, I should have known. Of course. Okay, that number, by the way, that number is on the screen right now if anybody wants to jot it down.
And or they could email me at first initial J, Mangham, Mangham, @starker.com.
Okay, very good.
And just put brochure, just simple short, and we'll ping it back.
Fantastic. John Mangum, thank you, sir, and thank you for being so generous with your time. Over the years, you have helped an awful lot of investors find options that might not have otherwise been available to them, and you're a gentleman and a scholar. Will you come back and join us sometime?
John, I'll be glad to join the coffee break anytime that you'd like.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. Talk to you real soon.
Thank you, John. Take care.